with Melissa is a new informative health and lifestyle show for you to gain knowledge and inspiration to help guide your journey to think, work, and live more powerfully. Whether you're trying to improve your life from a mental, physical, or spiritual journey, Sage Advice with Melissa Coleman, CEO of Sage Skincare, delivers weekly advice from the best experts to provide you with insightful suggestions to allow you to thrive with a better quality of life. It's her mission to guide you through the uncharted waters of health and wellness and to give you a voice on what can help improve your life and your mental, physical, and spiritual journey. Okay, audience, here's Melissa.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sage Advice with Melissa. I am your host, Melissa Coleman, and we are here today with Emily Weirman. Welcome back to the show, Emily.
Thanks, Melissa. Happy to be here.
I know, it was so last minute, and I'm so grateful. You know, like we talk all the time here, the universe makes no mistakes, and the perfect person is always in the chair, and you are perfect for this month of spirituality. So everything we've been talking about has been about that, which is your favorite thing, along with all the other things you do in the spiritual world. But I just want to remind everybody, you are catching us here every Saturday morning from 11 to noon on KXOK 102.9 FM and KWRH 92.9 FM. And then you can catch us all week long, Monday through Friday, on My Genre Radio Network. All you have to do is search your city, search our show. We're there 7 to 8 a.m. and then again from noon to 1 p.m. So you have ample opportunity to re-listen, to listen for the first time, just to stay attuned to us. And then you can catch everything on our socials at Sage Advice with Melissa on both Facebook and Instagram. So we keep you up to date there as well. So we're going to toot your horn a little bit, Miss Emily, because since you were here in December of 2021.
Wow.
I know. So that's like a year and a half ago. We just celebrated 2 years on the air, which is amazing. We are now approaching, I think, average 22 million weekly listeners. I mean, it's like,
congratulations.
You know, everybody's enjoying what we're doing here, and, you know, which totally fills my heart just to showcase all the beautiful people in our city, also in other cities, because we have guests that come on that are not here local in St. Louis, but just sharing all the amazing work that everybody's doing to create and help make better humans, which is our goal.
And thank you for putting this together. And you are the perfect person to be spreading the word on all of this. You're so connected in.
Well, I love it. It's definitely my passion. I think, you know, you and I have definitely talked because we've been working together.
Yes.
What, almost 2 years now too? You know, just that I didn't want to just do skincare on the radio, because you can talk about skincare for a while, but I feel like it's so much deeper. Everything that's going on outside is a result of what is going on inside.
Yes.
And, you know, it's been a pleasure working with you. So we want to share you with our enlarged audience and ever-growing audience. So I'm going to tell everyone a little bit about you. So as owner of Mastery in Love, Emily lives and breathes a deep, holistic approach to true healing and spiritual awakening. She is a professional ballroom and Latin dancer, Reiki master teacher, embodiment and intimacy coach, medical medium, nutrition mentor, mystical poet, and hopeless romantic that loves to laugh. She brings her passion for empowerment to all the offerings, classes, and trainings she shares with the world. Her mission is love every single day. After an intense spiritual awakening that sparked her desire to understand her soul more deeply, she paused her 10-year competitive ballroom Latin dance career and managed a yoga studio while diving into the studies of Reiki, galactic shamanism, embodiment, medical medium nutrition and protocols, somatic healing, and yogic, is it yogic?
Yes.
Sexuality. Having been through several years of battling her own chronic illness and Dark Night of the Soul. She came full circle and is now fully devoted to helping people navigate the multi-layered healing and awakening journey and raise consciousness in a rapidly shifting world. Emily is truly a gifted teacher who lives, dances, and shines from the inside out. She is simultaneously so sure of who she is and also wholeheartedly excited to discover new and unique truths in others. Come as you are and expect to be welcomed to her amazing community with open hands, open hearts, and warm smiles. This is like so everything you are. I mean, like everything, you know, and I love having firsthand worked with you because like you literally, you know, because we talk so often about hearing these amazing people talk and saying all these wonderful things, but not necessarily living what they're saying. And as someone who has worked with you for now almost 2 years, I can absolutely attest that you do live what you say. You embrace your own moments of struggle because we all have them. And, you know, it's been so amazing to be on this journey with you and watching you and you watching me. So welcome again to the show.
Wow.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
I know, I'm like oozing today.
I'm going to cry and get emotional.
Of course. I can be the Barbara Walters of of radio.
Melissa. We go back. No, it's true. It's about embodiment. It's about being it.
Mm-hmm.
Truly being it, especially in the spiritual realm
Yes.
and higher consciousness realm. These are expanded concepts. They're huge, massive,
Mm-hmm.
awakening concepts. And to be able to embody them and integrate them deeply in the core of who you are and how you live, that's the practice.
Yes.
It takes years. It's a whole life study.
And it's a continual life study because I think people think that you do it for a period of time and then you're like there. But, you know, we're humans and we always have something to learn. And I think that is what so many people aren't aware of, that we always have something to learn, no matter what.
Oh my goodness, yes.
You know, and can you speak to that a little bit? Because I think people think if it's all good, we have nothing left to learn. But it's like even in the good and the bad, there is always a lesson.
Always. It doesn't, it's like it never stops.
Nope.
Does it get easier? Well, I don't know. In some respects it does.
Yes.
But it's
the
like,
bumps are easier to handle, I think.
yes, you lean into the bumps. Your
Yes.
shock absorbers get really good. And you embrace all the moments.
Yes.
So undoubtedly, there's a period of time in the beginning, that initial awakening, depending on, you know, how devoted you have been to more of an asleep life,
Mhm.
you know, a sort of like smaller version of your life. But that initial wake up call, that process, like how some people call that dark night of the soul, or sometimes it accompanies real physical illness, you know,
Or
mental
pain.
illness, pain. You know, things are just going nuts in your life. And that initial, like, well, everything's falling apart. So I want to look within. I'm going to go within. I'm going to go and find different answers. That part is rough.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
warrior work right there.
Yes.
Helping, you know, people get through that. But you don't have a choice at that point.
No. And can we touch on that? Because I think, you know, for those that aren't fully aware and just attribute any sickness or pain as just part of life and not like it's the knock on the door, like this is your opportunity in this moment to like shift.
Yes. Yes. It is an opportunity.
Yes.
Totally an opportunity. It's obviously pointing to the fact that the things we're doing in life aren't working.
Mhm.
Right. And we're living in a culture and a global society that has normalized suffering. It has normalized sickness in all ways.
Mhm.
It's just it's like, oh, well, this is part of being human. This is what happens, or this is what happens when you get older, or this is just, it's what happened. Now, granted, yes, life is rough and life is
Mhm.
going to throw us challenges. That's an understatement, but it's not, it shouldn't be normal.
No.
Normal is life. Normal is love. Normal is vitality. Normal is being excited. Normal is feeling good in your body,
Mhm.
right? Your
Yeah.
body is such a big part of this. This is our soul home. It's the home of our, it's our piece of earth real estate that we're given when we are born onto the planet. So how we feel in our body, how we're perceiving the world, those are huge components to the quality of life,
Mhm.
the quality of our life experience. And yeah, everything outside makes it very easy for that to be numb,
Yes.
disconnected, and mildly in fear all the time.
Mhm. I think, as because I feel like it comes up so much here on the show just with COVID happening,
Yes.
that it was so fear driven, that it just really sparked such a change in people's view and changes within those relationships, even, because of that one thing versus, really focusing on how we can help one another, how we can be together, not separate, in the way in which that drove that separation into communities,
Yes. So
It's-
much.
Yes, yes. I think it's just so beautiful what you share and what you do with the people that you work with and how you really pull in that love piece. Because I think that is so far from the talk and conversation amongst people today that you are like such a blessing
Right.
to the world.
Thank you. And the embodiment of that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you walk the walk? We can all talk about love and
Mm-hmm.
gratitude. Those are seemingly simple concepts, but how does that really translate to your everyday life and to your community? And those kinds of big spiritual earthquakes, so to speak, like COVID,
Yeah.
are the big knock on the door.
Yes.
We have a choice. We can go hide in fear and look to the authorities to tell us, oh my gosh, are we safe? What do we do? Please take over all my power. Or we can wake up, so to speak, and say, wait a minute, how can I learn more? How can I use this as an opportunity to learn more about how my body works, how health works? How can I protect myself, in a sense, against these forces that can take us down if our immune system isn't great? How do I help my immune system? Instead of how do I cope and go shaking under the bed in fear. And there might be some time where you want to go just crawl in the closet and have a panic attack. I'm big on that too. That's fine as a stage, but then to have it be your hero's wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been calling the health journey now, or the awakening journey, the hero's journey of health, because it calls to the part of you that is the one that's going to go on the hero's journey. You have to save yourself in that way. And it takes courage.
Yes.
And deep love.
Yes.
Deep love amidst maybe some circumstance in your body or your relationship or your community that looks like it has gone to chaos.
Yes.
And within that, the challenges, are we going to stand up and say, no, I choose love.
Mhm.
I choose love right now. I will be humble enough to accept my part in this, but we can do better.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone truly stands up and said, I deserve better, I'm going to do better, even if I've screwed everything up until this point, the universe and consciousness backs you up.
Always.
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 In
Always.
ways you might not be able to see in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but it will. Forces move.
Yes, we're going to talk about that. But I just want to remind everybody, if you're just now joining us, you're listening to Sage Advice with Melissa. We're talking about spiritual awakening with Emily Weirman today, and we're going to get into Emily's journey because it is fascinating. And I think coming from the expert, our journeys, and how that has transposed into the work that you do today is important, because I think, the stories is what people relate to more than anything. And I think your story is absolutely amazing. So let's kind of share. So, what was that defining moment for you that sent you down this path?
Ooh, there were several defining moments.
Yes. But the big one, because I feel like those of us that end up in the space like where you are, on this path of awakening and discovery and learning to live a better life, I think so many of us have always had that connection.
Yes.
But, when you're little, you don't know what to do with it. And if you don't have people in the family that are in that space, it's like you kind of push it down
Yes.
until you have that major kind of knock on the door. Not that there hasn't maybe been some, but it's like I feel like until you have that major, like, oh gosh, I have got to sit here and think about this for a minute, that kind of knock.
Those are the best knocks. I wish that people could just have a fairy godmother show up and tap them on the third eye with a wand, and then the glitter would come
Ta-da!
and ta-da, and it would be gentle. But it's usually in those moments of chaos or loss,
Yes.
deep loss.
Yes. Which I've heard. They've heard me. The universe likes to knock me down on the ground. I will say I am almost almost a year of no boo-boos. So
Yes, we
I'm
know
paying attention.
Melissa and stairs, not
We're just walking.
The universe is like, gosh, she's going near stairs again.
She's on heels.
And
Let's
she
knock
is.
her down.
No, the universe is friendly. We live in a friendly universe. We do.
Yes.
My first wake-up call was my dad's death. Very suddenly, he died. There was a lot of trauma around that.
Mhm.
I remember the first time I saw his body in the hospital, and I thought immediately, where did he go? He's not here.
Yeah.
And I literally walked out of that room. I started hearing voices that day. And I was like, well, I got to go find him. That was my initial, shake me.
Mhm.
And I started my spiritual seeking
Mhm.
then. And then life went along. I was teaching ballroom and Latin dance competitively, traveling all around the country, covered in rhinestones and spray tans. I love dance and everything it is. And then big time into that journey, I had a big wake-up call sexually. I was married to my dance partner. We had a business together. We had a thriving career. We were about to build a business. And there was a person that came into my life and hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh my gosh. I have never felt this in my body sexually. And I have danced with many single men over 10 years in fairly naked costumes, doing very sensual dance. And I've never felt this. And then this one person comes into my life that is not my husband. And I was like, what is this? Who am I? And it woke me up to the fact that even though I'd been putting on this big facade for the world, and I'll toot my horn, I'm a great dancer, but internally, my relationship with my sexuality was completely rotting and starving and suppressed. And it was this experience of meeting this person that walks in, and that happens for people. Someone can walk into your life and change everything. It was a wake-up call. I did not know what to do. I had no tools. I had no inner work practice. I was frightened.
Mhm.
And I essentially jumped out of my life. At this point, that was not a smart thing to do. There was a lot of other things to do, but that's all I could have done at the time. I frightened myself. I knew that I deserved to feel what I thought I was feeling with this other person. I was like, my gosh, this is not in my marriage. What am I going to do? And So I basically left everything. I left everything. I'm a lot of fire in my sign. So boy, I act
just burn it up.
especially under trauma. I just burned it up. So yeah, I just leapt out of my life. I left my dance career. I left my marriage. I didn't go into relationship with this person. I just went out on my own,
Mhm.
off the cliff and into the desert. And I thought, I need to learn what is sexuality, what is the relationship with my body. As often happens with a divorce or a death or a loss, I lost my health hardcore.
Mhm.
My health tanked, my mental health tanked, everything went down. And that was my, like, just burn it all down. And then it was in that darkness that I had to go inside. And I was like, well, I've lost everything. So I'm going to go look into Reiki. I'm going to look into spirituality. I've always had these gifts, right? We were talking a little bit before the show that dance teaching, everybody thinks you're dancers, but dance teachers are therapists,
Mhm.
you know, and
I
we
love how you describe that. 'Cause
Yeah.
You don't think of it in
You
that
don't.
term. Yeah, because it is that partnership.
Yeah, it's very much. It's all your relationship issues are transparent and naked when you start to learn to dance with a partner, and your health issues and your relationship to your physical body, to your emotional body, to your sensual and sexual body. All of that is transparent through dancing. So I had been really fascinated by these topics and themes through my dance career, but without any tools or practices to really understand them deeply, because people come in, they want a cha-cha, they want a tango, and they don't want to come in and unpack. That's not a place to unpack their inner world. They're just trying to learn their left foot and their right foot and how to breathe and be on time. So it naturally led me into this inner world. And as you stated earlier, I managed a yoga studio. It was some of the most phenomenal years of being involved in the yogic community while dismantling an old life, doing healing, and starting to learn these modalities and get my tool set built, start to come into these practices and take responsibility for my health, my physical health, emotional health, sexual health, spiritual health that I had not taken responsibility for before.
Right.
And it was not pretty.
No, it is not pretty.
It's not pretty, but it is what builds the love story. It
Mhm.
is what builds intimacy. And it builds this kind of fearlessness and deep love when you really look inward and you prioritize your own well-being. And then you realize, wow, now I can love others.
Mhm.
Now I can capably be in a relationship with others in a healthy way, because you don't realize how codependent you are when you're codependent.
This is true.
It's not pretty to admit, but you know,
Yeah.
So you get the love, you develop the love and the capacity to be with very dark things and to become the light within them, to
Mhm.
choose love anyway for yourself. And that, you know, I look back and some part of me, consciously or unconsciously, created that so that I could, in perhaps a dramatic way, you know, go through that process. But I have seen people and coached people through this awakening process
Mhm.
and this return to love in all relationship situations. You don't have to crash your marriage or your life or leave your career. You really don't.
Mhm.
People do it in their relationships and in their jobs.
Yes.
And people do it all kinds of ways.
And let me ask you, because you know, sometimes through our spiritual work and our evolving of ourselves, it does change those dynamics of those relationships. You might not necessarily have to jump out like you did, for instance,
Yeah.
but are there times in that discovery process of oneself that you do have to make those determinations? This job is not good for me. This relationship is not good for me. You know, how does that look if you do need to step away?
Yeah. It's unique for everyone. And in a sense, at some level, you will need to step away. At some level, you will outgrow things.
Mhm.
And what you have to manage is how you're going to take care of you while you grieve who you used to be.
Mhm.
And so there has to be a change. You know, people, I get this from I don't know what to call my people, students, clients, you know, there's never a good word.
Right.
Community, tribe, people, my peeps. You know, where they say, I'm scared to grow because I'm going to lose my connections. I'm going to get farther away from people. I'm going to pass them up and it's going to make them uncomfortable when I grow. And what if they don't grow?
Mhm.
And there's a fear that comes with that. But the reality is that's where you bring your courage and your heart to know that the only way you can love them better, the only way you can really connect is to prioritize that work, that inner work of yours, however you need to do it. Maybe you do need to create distance, whatever that looks like.
Mhm.
Some kind of distance to be able to prioritize yourself. Maybe you can stay within it, but somehow create some space. And people understand that when it's about you. You make it
Mhm.
about you.
Exactly.
I need this because I'm not showing up as fully as I want to show up in this relationship. And I want more from myself. It's not
Yes.
about the other people.
No, which is
Really?
a whole nother show.
That's a whole-
Because we always want to be like, you know, when you start those conversations within relationships, whether it's, you know, a parent, a spouse, a sibling, whatever the case may be, it's always, we want to say what you need to change,
Mhm.
not about what I need. And that's where that friction in whatever relationship it is becomes that friction because we're focused externally versus internally.
Wow. You
Yes.
said it right there.
Well,
yeah.
believe it or not, we are coming up on our break. I want you to share how everybody gets a hold of you, any events that you have coming up, because I believe you have some coming up. And then we'll be back with more conversation about a spiritual awakening.
Yes. So the best way to get a hold of me is through my website, which is emilywehrman.com. You'll have that in the notes, right? emilywehrman.com. Everything I have is there. There is a lot there.
Yes.
And I work in different ways. So I work with people one-on-one for coaching and spiritual awakening training, Reiki training. People come to me for Reiki. I also work in yogic intimacy. We can get into that later.
Mhm.
I have workshops around that are happening in August. And I work with nutrition because nutrition is the grounded
Key.
spiritual journey.
Mhm.
And I work with medical medium nutrition. We can also talk about what that is. But I have online classes and in-person classes starting in August.
Yes.
So lots going on.
Yes. So that's Emily, EMILY, I'm like, and Wehrman, WEHRMAN.com. So look for her there. We will be back in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
If you're looking for a new informative health and lifestyle show to gain knowledge and inspiration to help guide your journey to think, work, and live more powerfully, then you need to listen to Sage Advice with Melissa. Now, whether you're trying to improve your life from a mental, physical, or spiritual journey, Sage Advice with Melissa Coleman, CEO of Sage Skincare, delivers weekly advice from industry experts to provide you with insightful suggestions to allow you to thrive with a better quality of life. Melissa's mission? To guide you through the uncharted waters of health and wellness and to give you a voice to help improve your life. So be sure to tune in to Melissa. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, listeners, saying thanks to your customers is nice and polite, but expressing your gratitude in memorable and ongoing ways can boost your business. At Promo Experts LLC, we exceed our customers' expectations. For over 20 years, our product knowledge and experience has helped them with their marketing initiatives and trade show graphics. We are happy to put that experience to work for you. Quality products, great customer service, and prices are our number one priority. We work with you to find unique, creative, and new ideas that fit your image and expectations, helping you build strong relationships with your customers. When you select Promo Experts as your marketing partner, we help you to see more than the big picture. For more information about this exciting opportunity, contact Diane Carson, President, at 636-458-5241. That's 636-458-5241. Let Promo Experts help you to move your business brand beyond the bland.
Is your business struggling with getting found online? Are you having a hard time finding a marketing company that you can trust? Look no further than Vivial. At Vivial, we are experts at helping connect buyers to consumers by our innovative marketing strategies with proven methods that help businesses connect to their target demographic. For a free consultation, call Anthony today at 314-437-1906. That's 314-437-1906.
Have you always wanted to write your own book but don't know where to start? Publishing Concepts, a publishing company located right here in St. Louis, offers everything from consulting, book printing, copyrights, ISBNs and barcodes, print book layout, ebook and iBook layout, graphic design, cover design, ghostwriting, typing and editing, distribution, marketing, and more for an affordable price. Visit publishingconceptsllc.com or just Google Publishing Concepts to get started today, or call 314-781-8880. That's 314-781-8880. Publishing Concepts. We help you sell more books.
Welcome back to part 2 of Sage Advice with Melissa. I am your host, Melissa Coleman. We are here today talking about spiritual awakening in our month of spirituality. That's everything we've been talking about this month. And I have the beautiful Emily Weirman with me today. Welcome back to part 2.
Thank you.
I know we've had a very exciting first half, so be sure and check us out. We are currently, because we did not say hi to our Facebook and YouTube family out there, we are live right now. So they're getting to hear all of this good stuff right now. And so, Emily, when we were leaving, we were talking offline about the sexuality piece, because that is like huge. I think, as you were mentioning, just like little ones, like this is something that starts with us really from the time we arrive, because we are energetic, but sexual beings. It's part of us. And, we were mentioning just, as the people that came over to what is now the USA, it was coming from Europe. Mm-hmm. And it's like in Europe, our view of sexuality is so different than it is here in the US. Like it's so taboo. Yet you go to other countries, it's like it's just part of life. As are many other things like drinking, hence why they don't have people with drinking issues. But that, again, a whole nother show. Yes. But let me ask you, because how do you maintain your own spirituality and how do you guide others? Which is going to lead me into our next fun question.
Yes. So my spiritual practices have undoubtedly developed over the years. Like what they look like now is not what they were before. Mm-hmm. So for people getting into this, the toolkit of going inward, that may look very different, Honestly, my spirituality is just embedded in every moment of my life. Every moment is a spiritual moment. Mm-hmm. It's all about being present where you are. I can see energy. I see the workings of my world as this outside holographic mirror to what I'm working on and healing and developing inside me. That's very much connected, outside, inside. My relationships with people are sacred places of practice, just in a regular way, the way that I view them. My intimate relationship is my deep spiritual practice container. Mm-hmm. That is my deepest. And so we're going to talk about sexuality and intimacy. That has become such a spiritual place of development for my deep core. So between my intimate relationship, and I literally have a yogic practice within that, and my nutrition, which is something that, I eat all throughout the day, but the way that I feed my body all through the day is my spiritual practice. And depending on what I'm working on spiritually, I use that nutrition as the acceleration to, if I really want to go deep and I really want to be accessing certain things, I'll use my nutrition tools to do that. But that alongside, meditation is always, that's a go-to. But I'm more an embodied person in the world. I don't spend 6 hours a day in meditation. I have, but it's not now. So those are the main places where my deep spiritual practice happen. And then what was the other part of the question?
How do you guide others, through what you are currently doing, what you're learning, and even, when you have those bumps, because when we have bumps, it affects everything.
Yes.
So how does that translate into working with others?
Yes, it's transparency. It's about not only living the practices, living the inner work, like we started talking about, really embodying it. You're demonstrating the work for people all the time. And as people come into my zone, my sphere, wanting to develop their spirituality and their intimacy and their consciousness, we will be playing out lessons all the time. And I get to be part of them. Sometimes I'm the good guy. Sometimes I'm playing a challenging role. And always leaning into every conversation, every opportunity, just the way I run my business. It's a continuous spiritual practice. So demonstrating the work in real time to people. If I'm going down because I have to process some dark stuff, then I tell that to my clients. Well, I've had times where I'm like, whoa, I'm going through this. We need to, reschedule. And sharing that, because it's important to be transparent. This is all about authenticity. Not that your deep, deep core is everybody's business. Right. But to know that you're living and dedicated to your own ups and downs, Yes. So that's really important, being transparent about that to the degree that you can with people. And then knowing that this is such a deeply personal journey for everybody. They come at it with a totally different background, a totally unique set of gifts and challenges. So I really love working one-on-one with people at the beginning when it's that most tender place. We go the deepest. And I can tailor the tools and the practices that I present to people and the kind of coaching and energy work with them that is exactly what they need. It's like targeted spiritual nutrition. But some people come at it in different places. So that's why I have those nutrition classes. Some people don't outwardly want to work consciousness. They just want to make healthier nutrition choices, which is great. And then they'll realize, whoa, this is now a spiritual matter at hand. Same with intimacy and sexuality practices. So I have different methods that I work with people. It's not just one.
Absolutely. And she customizes for you too, if you need it, just because when I had you on the first time, we had really just had a conversation before then. I don't think had I started. I don't know if I had started working with you yet. I think it was right after you were on the show and you're like, go to my website. And I'm like, on your website. And I called and I was like, okay, I need everything. And I don't see a thing for that.
Yeah, I need everything.
So, we really did customize that for me specifically, which is great. People have that opportunity. And what is also great about Emily with the work that she does, it crosses over. So if you're not in St. Louis locally, she's like so many others online. So you have that option as well. But,
Yes.
let's dive a little deeper, because I know for you, so much of the work that you do is around that sexuality piece,
Yes.
because like we shared, here in the US it is so taboo. We don't discuss it in the way in which we should. We look at sexuality as like a we shouldn't be doing it, we shouldn't be talking about it, all of those things. So for you, how did you come to teach sexuality, and why is this subject why is this an important subject in today's world? Because I think it's like at the forefront with how the media portrays people, and like what we see is not what it is. It's not just that outer look, because that is for a brief moment in time. And I want you to touch on that and how that looks for you and how you got to be in this space.
It's so good. You're right. In order to have this conversation, we have to talk lucidly about how sexuality is presented to us, because we normalize it. And it's either so taboo and so like off limits, or it's so hyper in your face.
Right. And not in a good way.
Not in a good way. So
So,
we're kind of numb to the power of it. It's everywhere. But when you really look at what it points to, people are terrified in this space of intimacy with their body. And it really is another branch of health. We are used to taking on our physical health. We go to physical therapy. We go to the gym. We know that eating healthy is good. We take care of those things. But when I ask people, how's your sexual practice going? Were you initiated into sexuality in a healthy way? That's like a deer in the headlights.
Right.
What do you
It's
mean
like, what?
sexual practice? I mean, I have a great sexual drive. People say I'm very sexually driven. And okay, but how's your practice going? And they snicker a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, how I pleasure myself? Well, no, like deeply. Like, is your sexuality a deep spiritual practice? Because it is. That's the container for it. And we're not taught that. We're not initiated. So we just get thrown out into the field of sexuality, and it gets so crusted up with wounds and emotional battles. And it's a landmine field. And then let's not look at how that's actually the case. So then we numb against that, and then we can use the most powerful, sacred practice that's so natural in the human body, and we just throw it to the wind, like, oh, all over the place. Oh, sure. And then it's like bulks up your ego, and that's weird too.
Yes, because it should be an amazing crescendo of energy.
Oh, absolutely.
And we don't learn that. And I think just for me being a student of Kabbalah, it's very sacred, even within that practice, and how you view it and work with it, and like even the times that are the best times to be having those moments. Like we don't learn any of that.
No.
Because nobody wants to talk about it.
No.
You have sex ed in school, but that's like nothing.
Oh, yeah. It's almost abusive.
Right.
And that's if you got sex ed, because a lot of people
Exactly.
didn't even. It was like they got nothing.
Yes.
Or women will talk about they got no initiation or instruction about their menstruation,
Yeah.
their sexual and reproductive body. They didn't get that education. And that's not that many generations back. And we are living in the dark ages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so these two ideas I bring forward of not just sexuality, but intimacy. We have to talk about intimacy, because people use sexuality as a shortcut, a 0 to 100 shortcut for connection and intimacy and feeling love that they never got. They never got it in a healthy way. And they can use sexuality like a fast food.
Right.
They're starving and they need to drive through. And then you think about the insanity of this,
Mhm.
because our bodies, boy, they work instinctually, and you can just be out for a fun night out in the town, and 0 to 100 later, you have a baby. Like, what? Or you have deep connection with someone that you don't even know their middle name. And that's extreme cases.
Right.
But even when we're in committed relationships where we're deeply wanting to love and connect, there's just so much room for re-education and developing of intimacy and the capability in our body to experience deep intimacy with ourselves, first of all,
Mhm.
then with another person. And of course, the whole time it's with the divine,
Mhm.
really.
Yes.
So, yeah, intimacy practice. So when I talk to people and I talk about sexual yoga or yogic intimacy, these terms are here developing this fairly new field of yoga that is around like an emotional yoga, so to
Mhm.
speak, an energetic yoga. Everybody's familiar with like Hatha yoga and Bikram yoga. They go to a yoga studio. They work on their physical strength, flexibility, mobility, balance. These are fabulous practices. But yogic intimacy and sexual yoga takes it a step further into your emotional realm. Let's take some of these emotional postures and these intimacy postures with another person, not just the physical asanas like, oh, do you guys sit around and practice sex positions? No, you can do that. But this, in the beginning, it's so much about breath and focusing your consciousness and understanding what are the forces that make sexuality sexuality.
Mhm.
What are the foundational energies that create polarity, right? We talk a lot about masculine energy and feminine energy,
Yes.
opposite poles, that when you have those embodied, you create an arc of sexual energy that is way beyond physical sexuality. This is just creative energy of the universe. It's happening in every moment. We can play it out in our bodies. And we have to then learn what these forces look like in a healthy way that we've never been taught.
Mhm.
If I ask people, how's your relationship with your feminine energy? Everybody has feminine energy.
Oh, mine's horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Still working on
Women
it.
are like, am I feminine? Do I have feminine energy? What does that look like? It's healthy masculine energy. Like there's
Yes.
teachers now, a lot of teachers coming forward are really presenting these concepts
Mhm.
to
Absolutely.
know ourselves better.
Yes, yes. Just want to remind everybody, if you're just now joining us, you're listening to Sage Advice with Melissa. I'm your host, Melissa Coleman. We're here with Emily Rearman today talking about spiritual awakening, and specifically in this half of the show about sexual intimacy. And, as you were talking, it kind of reminded me, because I did my Reiki training with you. And the book that we were studying from, there were very specific positions and poses like that was in line with like the Kundalini energy that you work with, and like that intimacy piece within us, male or female, is that life force energy, which I found so fascinating when I was going through the training and just learning all of that. And can you just, really touch upon how that energy for all of us, whether we're male, female, they, them, whoever you choose to be, how that is that life force energy that heals for us and for others? How do we embrace that? And for somebody maybe who is in that inquisitive, curious place, what does that look like for someone?
So beautifully stated there. Yes, sexuality and the practice of this is evolved sexuality is advanced energy work. Reiki is energy work. Reiki is healing energy. Reiki introduces you to the concepts of flowing universal life force energy, or chi, talked about, to heal your own body, to heal others. You learn about your energy body, all of that. And naturally it feeds into using that energy and the directing of that energy into more of a sexual arena. So that there's the whole stages of developing those kinds of practices. But yes, it is definitely advanced energy work, or sometimes I'll call it embodied Reiki, right? That next level of embodying that energy. But land me back in your question.
Well, I guess it was more of an observation of what we were talking about. Just how, especially because this was more, I think, towards that Reiki 3 level when I was doing that, but just that practice of, because it is essentially a yoga practice.
It is.
The Kundalini energy.
Yes.
But, how does that, in working with you or just working through this process, how does that come to be like that core? Because I feel like as I've been watching you and how you work with the different things that you do, is like that is really the sexual intimacy is really at the core.
Yes.
Of the healing, of the being, all of it. How do I want to ask that? It's like, how do you get to that space?
Yeah. How do you get there?
Yes.
And that's the most important part of that is the foundation, is how you get there. So it is in my modality, my mindset, the way I approach this whole development of this practice is you set the foundation and you prepare your body and your consciousness to be able to do those yogic practices. So right now, anybody off the street can go to a yoga class and they don't have to do any preparation. But really, to be able to do sexual yoga or to develop a sexual practice in your body to get to that point, and that is literal wizardry, by the way. That's high level consciousness direction and yoga practice. And sexual yoga, it is nutrition that we didn't know we needed. But in order to get there, you have to prepare yourself. And you prepare yourself by going through your spiritual awakening, number one, before you can even touch your sexuality. If I had my way with every one of my students, I would have them start with just spiritual awakening practices. And the foundation of that is their nutrition and their expansion of consciousness. Depending on where people are. Some people cannot even meditate in the beginning because their nervous systems and their physical bodies need so much care first. So that can't throw them into sexual yogic practices when their nervous system is not even ready. So it's like we have to prep the physical body and the consciousness first. And depending on where someone is approaching that may take a period of time, really. So that's where nutrition for me is number one. Let's help the adrenals, help the nervous system, because that internal practice of how you feed yourself and how you approach your body builds self-love. It builds self-priority, if I could say it that way, and helps to make sure that you're not just going to throw your body into rogue practices where the energy is too much. Right?
Yes.
So first go from muggle to beginning wizard, white belt wizard. Right? Go get the Reiki training. If you're not familiar with Reiki, get some Reiki training. Learn about nutrition. Start to take care of your physical body and your spiritual body, and that practice will develop in whatever flavors it does. And then once you have prioritized your physical body health, you're aware of your emotional body, you're aware of energy, you are you got that practice thriving, then you can step into sexual yogic practices and embodiment practices, and they will blow your mind and
Mhm.
open your heart in ways where you're like, wow, how did I live on this planet without this?
Right.
I
right.
never knew I needed this.
Exactly. So I'm sure we're getting close to the end, but I would love for you to share what a snapshot of a day in the life of Emily.
Oh,
Like what a practice, what your practice looks like in your day.
yeah. When I wake up, I have cats. I have the most beautiful cats, and they're usually when I wake up,
They
they're
are.
all around and they're just like laying on me and welcoming me into the day. So that the first moments of the day that's all gratitude. It's like, wow, thank you, God. Here I am again. And here I am. My morning routine is long because I juice a lot. I have lemon water every morning, celery juice every morning. All those medical medium powerful tools are priorities in my morning. So prepping food and getting my morning food routine is vital for me. Then, depending on what's going on in my life, I will take time on my mat, so to speak, to either meditate or have an embodiment practice, just to connect with my body
Mhm.
and connect in. And then from there, yeah, I try to sit and do some businessing stuff, some of that stuff that's not always my favorite stuff to do, but it's vital.
Right.
And then I have sessions throughout the day.
Mhm.
And it's cool because it's all kinds of stuff, either private coaching sessions with people, whether there's workshops that day or groups on Zoom. I work with people online. I work with people in person. Sometimes I'll go to the dance studio and working with tango and waltz for an hour. And then, so I'm a little bit all over the place, and I love that it's varied
Yes.
and keeps me learning and serving and meeting the best people and just co-creating. I love it.
Mhm.
Life is good.
So, how do people co-create with you? Because we're about to end the show.
Yes.
It makes me so sad always.
Totally. So if they go to my website, there's a contact form right at the end where you can just contact me and say, hey, here's what I'm interested in. Here's where I'm going through.
Mhm.
And I'm very happy to do a initial like discovery call. It's
Okay.
free
Mhm.
with people where we just Zoom and I connect in and I'm like, land me in your world. Where are you? And then I can best direct people
Mhm.
to where's best to be.
Yes.
So that's really the easiest place. And if you go to my website, you can see the classes that are there, the talks. I'm really out there doing a lot.
Mhm.
So there's lots of ways to get involved,
Mhm.
depending on which door of the mansion you want to come in.
Exactly. And share one more time your website.
Is www.emilywehrman.com, which is EMILYWEHRMAN.com.
Awesome. Well, Miss Emily, always a pleasure to have
Thank
you
you.
here with us.
Yeah.
Any last tip for our listeners you would like to share real quick?
Smile. Just even if you're going through hell, you lift the corners of your mouth and at least smile into your own heart, because it's not easy down here.
No.
And if you're in a body and if you're on earth, I give you a massive high five. It's cool down here, but it's rough.
Yes.
So I honor you, and I'm happy to be on earth on these front lines with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
As we like to leave you, everyone, health is a state of mind, wellness is a state of being. Be good, everyone, and we'll see you next week.